even on the gymnastics floor. I wanted to be the best. This desire to be the centre of attention on the sporting field was ironic in a way, because generally I was a shy kid who didn't have too much to say. But there was something about being good at sport that gave me an identity. For some reason, I always felt like people expected that I would be good. There was actually no reason for me to think that way. It might sound crazy, but in my mind, I wanted to prove that to be right. The problem was, with rugby out, I needed to fill that void. The unexpected solution came when my parents moved us into a new rental on Augusta Street, Crestmead. My brother Nathan was a year older, and I was your typical annoying younger brother, following him everywhere. Every now and then, he'd go down to a local skate park and ride his BMX around. That was my first introduction to the sport. Our new house in Crestmead was just a block away from the park, which was a magnet for young teenage boys wanting to hang out. Nathan was quickly drawn in, with his little brother always a step behind. Obviously, I needed to look the part, so for my next birthday, I asked for a BMX of my own. My first bike was a small 16-inch frame ABD green machine, and the day after I got it, Dad, Nathan and I went down to the skate park. Next to all the ramps was some grassy park area, and I was riding around there when I crashed. I'd turned too fast and put it in the dirt. But the problem wasn't what happened to me. It was the massive scratch I'd just put on my new bike. I was devastated. I couldn't believe I'd ruined my pride and joy on one of the very first rides. Time healed that wound, and soon I was going down with Nathan all the time to ride in the park. The Crestmead skate park had a little bit of everything for BMX riders and skaters. There was a round bowl, a cornered three-sided bowl, quarter pipes, a half pipe, stairs, rails, a fun box, ledges, pyramids, and big banks. It was quite daunting for a beginner, but we slowly got the hang of it, and the first trick I learned was called a fakie, where you go up the quarter pipe straight, then ride down backwards and spin around. This was all happening around the time I started high school, so I was making new friends and they were all going down to the skate park, which became our hangout spot. There weren't many skateboarders down there. It was all about BMX and scooters. After a few months, it was obvious my bike was quickly becoming too small, but instead of looking at a new BMX, I made a detour into the scooter world. They'd become all the rage, so with a few mates, we all switched over for about 6 months. You could obviously throw them around for tricks, but they weren't suited to practical things, like getting to the train station, so the enjoyment faded. This corresponded with Christmas approaching, and I turned my attention to raising the funds to buy a new, bigger, and better BMX. I started mowing the lawns on the weekend, which would get me $20 from my parents, and by the time Santa Claus was ready to do his thing, I'd saved almost $300. My parents generously agreed to chip in the rest for the bike I'd chosen, a 20-inch GT Transformer. It was a thing of beauty, with a white frame, blue handlebars, and blue forks. It was exciting to be back on the bike, although I soon realised it was a little bit heavy. Obviously, to do tricks on a BMX, the lighter the bike, the better. So I again started saving my money, this time for lighter parts to upgrade my Transformer, instead of getting a whole new bike. For most kids, getting $20 for doing odd jobs would be gone within hours, usually spent on junk food. I'd learned from a young age to use my money wisely, since my parents were forever telling me to use your money for what you want. Don't waste it. By this stage, I'd lost Nathan. Lost in the sense that he was no longer into BMX. He'd had a big crash that knocked his tooth out and never went back. He couldn't shake what had happened and became scared of crashing. Getting hurt never entered my mind, even after what had happened to Nathan, and instead, I went the other way, spending every spare minute down at the skate park. My daily routine would have Mum picking me up from Marsden State High School, which was about a 5-minute drive from home, at 2:45 p.m. I'd race inside, change out of my school clothes, quickly have something to eat, and by 3:15 p.m, I'd be at the skate park, where I'd stay until it was nearly dark. On weekends, we would take the train to Beenleigh, which was only 10 minutes away, to the best skate park in the district. When you first lay eyes on Beenleigh,